As soon as the little blue diamond or donut stops turning.
As soon as you start talking, that's when it starts
I
recording.
know. It's my good camp internet.
Yeehaw, Grandpa.
You're referring to that old guy holding that rifle, you mean?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about.
I like the old.
He was talking about getting the shakes while he was shooting it offhand.
That was a chore, I'm telling you. A couple of screwed shoulders and a heavy rifle. It's not a good combination.
Yeah. Are you doing the intro there, Kurt?
I could very well.
Oh, you should.
All right, everybody. Welcome to the First Focal Plane, episode 80. Hey, Putin, cut it out already. should go pay a visit to that guy, hey? Yeah, no takers.
That may be easier said than done.
Well, I see they're actually putting out for foreign help.
Ukraine is, you mean, or Russia is?
Yeah, sorry, no, Ukraine is. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I would imagine.
Jeez, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Probably taking anything they can get.
I'll tell you this, and it's not right to single out a single person in a situation like this, but I'm a little worried for the Klitschko brothers. Vitaly, you guys know who the Klitschko brothers are?
Yeah.
Both world champion boxers. Vitaly is the mayor of Kiev, and he's apparently both of them have vowed to go down fighting. So it's honorable thing on their part, but holy crap, it's going to change a few things, boys.
How you doing, Cappy?
Good, buddy. You?
Not too bad.
Welcome to the show. Should we replay the intro?
Yeah, not on my benefit. Sorry for the. I had a lighting issue behind me. I couldn't see anything.
Yeah, you're down in the dungeon there. You're in solitary. What did you do?
That's the only quiet place in the house.
All right, we'll get on with business here. EM Precision Rifles in Leduc, Alberta has everything you need to compete at the highest level of any long-range precision rifle game of your choice. From a rebarrel to a full-on custom build from scratch, EM Precision guarantees performance. Find them on Facebook, Instagram, and on their website at emprifles.ca.
Mm-hmm.
How do I sound, you guys? I got these super cheap earbud things.
I don't think your sound's coming through there.
Hey?
Tap on the microphone on that thing, because I don't think your sound's coming through there.
Oh, maybe it's coming through the...
I think it's coming through your computer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Either way.
When you fiddle with it, there's
no
extra sound. You sound great. You sound wonderful.
Okay.
Yeah. Like a dream.
Moving on.
All right, moving on. Hey, our show is also brought to you by that gigantic sign behind Cappy's head. Bolt Action Coffee. For world-class specialty coffee from world-class Canadian Forces vets. Oh, we're just saying that because they're here. Go to boltactioncoffee.com. Order up some coffee for any occasion, and while you're there, check out their great line of apparel, mugs, stickers, and patches. Help support a great veterans organization as well as the show. At checkout, use code FIRSTFOCALPLANE, all one word, for 10% off your order. Doing so directly supports the show.
And Callsign 66, which these guys are a veterans-based training organization founded to facilitate multi-generational passage of information. After 80 shows, I finally got that right without tripping over my tongue.
It wasn't bad, but then you had to stop to pat yourself.
I know. I was so proud of myself. Yeah, exactly. Multi-generational passage of information, ballistic applications R&D, and shooter development. The omnidirectional passage of information is key to the community's success and growth, as our organizational philosophy is such that we all have something to offer. Welcome to the Brotherhood. For more info, go to www.callsign66.ca.
Mm-hmm. We'll save the rest for a little bit later so we can get into the show.
Sure,
but
we can do that.
We will mention that Sean drew the short straw tonight, so unfortunately he's not able to make the show. He's got some other duties that he must attend to. So it's just you and me, Rooster.
All right. With these
Hopefully
fine
we're
gentlemen.
enough. Yeah.
Look at this. I feel I'm left out.
Of what?
You getting your specs on?
You gotta get your spectacles on.
Yeah.
I'm just not used to them yet, so I
Yeah,
can't. I feel like I'm cross-eyed all the time.
Am
I
I the
took
only
mine
one?
off and I couldn't see a thing.
No. Not if
Am
it's
I-
right here, can't see it.
Am I the only one who took out a second mortgage in the early 2000s to get LASIK?
I think you might have been. We spend money on rifles and yeah.
I'm also the only one in the room who doesn't have a $5,000 plus rifle, right?
Yeah. These aren't Schmidt and Bender glass.
They're not.
Yeah.
No.
Well, they should be.
Do they have a reticle in them though?
God,
Wouldn't that be a good idea?
right?
The
Milling
reticle is
targets.
internal.
So, what have you guys been up to lately? This winter's kind of dragging on a little bit, I think.
Yeah, fighting through that COVID issue, and then just getting ready for the courses coming up here in the spring and summer, and narrowing down that timeline. It's coming.
You're making up for lost time this year by the sound
yeah.
of it.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome.
Sure trying to.
Awesome.
Still trying to get out to shoot
Well-
even when the weather's crap. So
Well, I see that every once in a while. I see a post that you throw on Instagram. There, you're out shooting, and it just makes me feel shittier about myself. Get my fat ass out to the range. Actually, I moved my range another 4 miles further south, and it's even harder to get to in the winter. we
It wasn't
got
that hard for you. You got to stand most of the way.
Well, I know. Yeah, we went out a couple of weeks ago. Our mutual friend Rob had a snowmobile, so we got him to come out, and Rob and I on the sled, and Chris in the sleigh with all the gear, hold it up like a pretzel. That was glorious.
Picking little pieces of ice out of my teeth the whole way.
Yeah,
Like little
we had to
kids,
do
going on toboggan ride.
exactly.
Yeah, the only problem is that I'm about as tall as 3 little kids, but folded into the same space.
Yeah.
Rob was driving there, and he's like, "Just let it go, man. Just let it go."
What direction are you shooting now, Rooster?
North.
North?
Yeah, finally got something north, so we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see if it lasts. Yeah.
It has a nice little windbreak of trees to the south of it. I don't know. You looked like you were kind of exposed at the last range. I never shot on it, but
Yeah, very exposed. But you know what? It was all right because you felt everything, right?
You did.
Yeah, you bet.
Yeah.
Yeah, Scott Chitchell, quit being a puss. Yeah, thanks, Scott. I know.
the worst part is we went out there. We made the trek all the way out there to film for your review for the new Vortex Razor HD Gen 3. And then you didn't even get to put it up before you got scooped by Peter Milan of Impact Shooting.
I know.
You just put his up.
Oh well, that's the thing. Down in South Africa, the weather's considerably better than it is here, and I don't know what he does for work, but it seems like he's got a lot more time than I do. So good on him.
Yeah, that's okay. We'll be second. We'll be second.
That's right. You know what? We're used to that anyway. Woo.
So we got. There's
What's that?
You're first in my heart, buddy.
Oh,
Yeah.
make
See, I got to
blush
build you
again.
up, and I'm going to break you down.
the positives, and here comes the negative.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not sure
Do it
there's
after.
much left to break anymore. Oh hell!
So there's a couple of months.
Castillo.
Let's
Right.
let's talk about some of the things that you guys have coming up with Callsign.
Please.
So I think you and Rooster and Miles, you guys were talking about it a little bit off air, but let's talk about it on air though. What are you guys doing? What's hot? What's new?
So this year we've been we're kind of doing it a little differently. Usually we've been running 2-day courses. I know in the past, this year we've kind of stepped it up to add that third day. History, people have been asking us for that extra day in the past, so thought we'd try it out, and getting a lot of attention on that. Where we're doing more of a combined fundamentals, I guess, seminar, you can say, where we're doing, our precision accuracy part, and then a day of the wind calling, and then the next day, depending on, the class and the clientele, getting into the positional shoot.
Cool. And how many events are you guys going to be doing in the next 10 months?
Yeah, right now we got scheduled 4. Waiting for potentially one in Saskatchewan somewhere. Most likely at Roosters. Waiting on that. Just right now we're just deconflicting some schedules with some other clients that we have some courses we're running for too. So the 4 we have lined up for sure. Those are locked in dates. Heading all the way.
Those 4 are all in Alberta?
No. Our first one will be in Penticton at Protect Guns, combined with them. It's a beautiful spot out there. It's a great spot. And then we're running a civilian 3-day one there. And then we have some LEO stuff we're doing out there as well for the Western boys. Then May we're in Valley View, running a 2-day shoot there, which is our precision accuracy course. And June, so we're up to 5. So June will be in Bindloss area, and end of June we're in Winnipeg area, Eckersville, I believe it's called. James, out at James' place, James Copeland.
Yeah, I gotta get out there.
Yeah,
when
that is a beautiful place to shoot.
Yeah.
A lot of swirly winds there, a lot of fun, great hospitality, right? Such a great spot.
Yeah. When did you figure that one would be?
That one's end of June, I believe.
Oh crap! What the hell did we have on the schedule, Chris?
Oh, you're asking me?
End of June-ish. Let me just double check that one here for you guys.
Let me see here.
Riveting radio.
Everybody's looking at calendars.
Yeah, I know. All 4 of us are.
Oh, I got it backwards. We're in Bindloss end of June, and June, what is it here? 18th? Beginning of June. We're out there in Eckersville area.
Beginning of June.
Yeah, because we're doing, is it Sapril and Medicine Hat beginning of June?
Yeah.
Or no, and then we're doing our annual piss up at Consort. Yeah.
I've got it here, Miles. June 11th and 11th to 13th, we're out Manitoba.
11th to 13th. Yeah. So mid.
Oh, that's actually not that bad.
Wait a minute.
It's right in between Nose Hill and LRSS rimfire match in Assiniboia. Because we're at Nose Hill June 3rd and 6th, 3rd through 6th, and then we're LRSS rimfire in Assiniboia June 18th and 19th.
Assiniboia. Is that Saskatchewan, Assiniboia?
That's Saskatchewan. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So if you were going to do Saskatchewan, like say Roosters Ranch, that would be somewhere around that time, I'm guessing.
No, we're probably looking at more towards end of August, September timeframe.
Oh, okay.
For Saskatchewan. I mean, I it all depends if we get some time away or what we have available. But that's what it's looking at right now. That time frame.
That sounds great. As long as it's not the very beginning of August.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Okay, good. Because I would very much like to attend that and meet you guys in person, but I'll be gone the beginning of August. So let's just plan everything around me.
We'll have to plan it around you.
I'm worth it. I promise I'm worth it. Well, cool. So you've got a number of, obviously, talked about a number of events you guys have planned for 20. What year are we in? 2022. Why don't you guys tell us a little bit about what goes into each type of course? What is the kind of material that you guys cover in each type of course, and what type of shooter is each course best suited to? Two-part question. Yeah.
All right, I'll start with the first part.
Yeah, whoever can take this, Miles.
Yeah.
Cappy, doesn't matter.
Miles.
So our kind of three-part, the way we got it laid out, kind of is a three-part series. But our precision accuracy course is it's our basic fundamental course of marksmanship principles, where we take the basic shooter to, someone who has been shooting for some time, and really just focus on the marksmanship principles, talk about the rifle system, and the whole package, and putting that package from the beginning to the end, from the rifle, the optic, matching it up to the shooter, and then putting them through the fundamentals.
So this would be more for any type of shooter?
It is really for any type of shooter. Experienced shooters we've had from beginners to experienced shooters who are actually really, really good shooters coming out and still taking that course and just refining their skill set as well. We've got these courses laid out kind of on paper, how we'd like to have them go, and mostly for people to see what we're kind of offering. But when it comes down to the course, it all depends on what kind of clientele we have. And that's what's nice about having that 4-to-1 instructor ratio that we do have, that we're able to, I guess, segregate the course or separate the course. If we got some newer shooters that need a little more time compared to some more experienced guys, we can split off. And, we're not scared to fast forward a little bit where we have to as well.
Mm-hmm. So you can adapt to whoever's showing up.
Yeah, definitely. And that's one of our, I guess, if I would say anything, is one of our greatest attributes is being able to adapt to our clientele on the fly. Yeah.
So what kind of a rifle system would someone or should someone bring to that course?
Something that's
Does it matter?
Just a basic rifle that's got the basic accuracy, but you can also fire a volume of fire. So I've had a couple gentlemen show up with like a 300 Win Mag, 60, 70 rounds into the day, they are not having fun.
Yeah.
So something that you can have a good volume of fire. So, your 6.5s, your small 7s, your 308s, 223s, along those lines.
Perfect. And most people bring bolt guns for that?
Yeah, majority are bolt guns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what were you saying, Kurt?
Oh, I was just going to interject. My first good target rifle was an old Remington Sendero 300 mag, and I went to a course one time, and it was I think it was 100 and, if I remember right, it was 111 rounds through the course of those 2 days, and it was 31, 32 degrees both days. And that was south of Calgary somewhere, and that was a hellish drive home, just pouting.
Felt like you'd been in a boxing match.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And shooting 210 VLDs out of that sucker. Yuck. No break. No break, no brain.
No.
Yeah. It was interesting.
So that was we were just talking about the precision and accuracy fundamentals course, right?
Yeah. Right.
Okay. So then you guys also do the wind spotting seminar. Tell us about that.
So the wind spotting seminar, it's kind of our next step up into long range, where we need to get to bring our accuracy onto paper. So we always start, no matter what, with a day of, or at least an hour or two of the fundamentals, going over that again and seeing where everyone's at. And that gives us a good gauge of what our clientele is at, where they're at too. So we'll set up that way, and then we'll run through wind spotting course. We'll start off, usually on an individual base, and then moving to a spotter shooter type setup, where we start working on our wind calls, calling our wind calls for each other. We get into more of the ballistic applications there as well. Kestrels, a good intro onto it. Depending once again on our clientele, not everyone has a Kestrel, right? So, but we definitely want to touch base. We do touch base on the ballistic applications of the computers and so forth. And then we usually end the days off with kind of usually a little, skill drill, little competitions here and there, kind of see where we're at. And that's a pretty solid and pretty packed 2 days of shooting.
Cool. So even if somebody hasn't got, a Kestrel or a rangefinder or anything like that, they're still going to basically learn how to use one, right?
Yeah, for sure.
That's from what I understood. If I understood what you were saying correctly.
Yeah, we tend to have a couple with us as well that we'll either maybe borrow out if we have to or whatever. We're there to make things work too for our client. But just going through the process and benefits of having a ballistic application and where it comes in. We work a lot on probability of hit factor, why we're maybe missing that target when we think we should be hitting. It's all relative to that target size when we start putting rounds down range, right? So a lot of people don't understand that. You think if we're hitting a MOA target, we're shooting an MOA grouping, that we should be hitting a MOA target no matter at what range. So there's a lot of good learnings that come from that probability hit factor. It's a good way to introduce the clients to that.
Cool.
And I'll just touch on it. If you guys don't have a Kestrel and they're going to be using an app or something along those lines, we're pretty well versed in most of the apps that are out there as well. So we'll help somebody with that. So if you don't have the money for a Kestrel, but you're running something off your phone, we'll work with you on that.
Yeah.
Another reason why your 1-to-4 instructor ratio is probably a big help.
Yeah,
it is. And we don't just focus on the Kestrels either. I mean, the Kestrels are great. I think a lot of shooters nowadays use them as a crutch. It's a matter of learning those fundamentals and getting still doing our dope charts, our data charts, and utilizing them, and then seeing where our Kestrels come into play as well, right? And it depends what you're doing, what type of shooting you're doing as well, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you can't abandon that base knowledge altogether for technology, right? It's I see a lot of guys leaning on technology, and I've been a victim of it as well at times, right? And I'm old enough and stubborn enough that I don't want to let go of the what do you say, the manual?
The word is curmudgeonly.
You shut your bald mouth. the analog stuff, right? It's to me that's fail safe, and you've always got that as long as you don't let it slip. But at the same
I imagine
rate,
it's the same as anything else. If you understand how to do it manually, you can still use the technology. But if you don't understand the manually and your technology fails, you're no better off than the guy who doesn't know how to do shit in the first place.
Yeah, for sure.
You see it a lot. Like the Kestrels are constantly out, and you look at the target's 500 meters, man, and it's a 2/3 IPSC. You don't need your Kestrel. You should know that data.
That's right. Yeah, you see that. You do see that a lot. Hey,
I
mean, guys are
know that
enthusiastic about their technology and that, which is great. But it's just like a fucking GPS where somebody's driving and they're looking at that goddamn thing constantly and not seeing what's around them, looking for landmarks, and so you can get back to wherever the hell you went to or came from or whatever, right?
The GPS thing is funny because I'm sure Miles can talk about when guys got the GPS for the first time, and until you start walking, it doesn't tell you the proper direction. So that little circle, that stupid circle everybody does, south that way, just start walking that way.
Yep, absolutely.
They do
Where
the
are you going?
Circle.
I don't know, but I'm going.
Yeah, we're rolling.
Too funny.
Start doglegging a lot.
Yeah.
So what for the listeners out there, what it's highly dependent on the location that you're putting courses on, but what can they expect to see for distances on these courses, and are there, do you try and how do I say, pick specific limits, I guess, for distances for different types of courses, or is it kind of wide open?
Yeah, you're right. It all depends where we are and what kind of course we're running. I mean, if we're doing the fundamentals course, I mean, you can achieve a lot within the 300-meter range, but people, shooters just, they want to keep pushing out. So we work on that 300 up to the 300-meter for sure on our baseline, but it's always nice to have that little bit extra out there to build that confidence and take them to that next level and show them like, hey, just with a little more, practice or knowledge base, look, we can hit that 500 pretty repetitively and consistently, right? So it's nice to have that 600 for the baseline course for sure. And then on our wind spotting seminar, 1,000 meters can be really tough to achieve. It's like we were talking about, it's all relative to your target size, right? So, anywhere from for the wind spotting, out to the 1,000 plus is nice. You don't need a lot of range to work on your wind calls either, right? So
on the other hand, though, the longer that bullet's hanging in the air, the more effect there is on it, and you should be able to learn a little bit more, at least, anyways, right?
Absolutely, right.
Yeah.
But you gradually got to work up to that, right? Otherwise, you're looking. You know how it is when you're looking in a spotting scope or your rifle, and you've been hitting out to that, that 800 meters pretty consistent, and all we do is we jump up another 200 meters, and it's like I see nothing.
World of difference.
Right? So why am I seeing nothing, and where is that going? And now I'm troubleshooting, right? So you don't really need too much. And then once we start talking about dropping into our transonic and subsonic, and the differences there, then we're going to need that little bit extra range, right? And if we're going for more of an ELR kind of type range, then we're going to need the distance, right? When we start talking about drop scale factors and stuff like that, right? Getting more into the Kestrel and the ballistics for sure. We're going to want that range.
It also comes a lot down to, like, a lot of guys will, like, I want to hit 1,600 meters, the famous mile. And if I put an IPSC target up against a hillside where you can see splash, guys can typically walk it on in 4 or 5, right? Right. However, like, we do this gut check test. So say on day 2 or day 3, okay, students, you have to pick the distance, but you have to guarantee me a first round hit. And all of a sudden you're going to see, okay, 550, please. I'll go for that one. Right. And so that's the big key. So most of it, anybody can hammer away and eventually get a hit. But on that wind course, we're really pushing for that first, maybe second round. That's our standard. So yeah, if you give me a target at 2,000 and give me 20 rounds and a hillside to back it into, I'm going to hit it.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
But am I actually applying the wind skills that I've been taught? So that's what we're trying to push.
So I'm guessing 25 meters isn't an acceptable answer to that question, hey?
It could be the Price is Right, man. Just
unless you got a straw and a paper ball or something.
Yeah, you're the last one to go and everybody's missed. I'll take 25 meters, please.
It all just depends on how much we want the rest of the group to respect us, I guess. We got a bunch of questions piling up that we probably should get to before people stop asking them, because we like this interactive portion. We got, first of all, Todd Wilson wants to know, are you guys shooting any matches this season?
I'm hoping to. A lot's going to depend on where I land for work, because I might be bouncing around units. So once I know my schedule, I intend to, for sure, because through 2019, I was shooting a lot. And then with COVID, I kind of backed off.
Yeah.
Right.
So, has there been any more word on that short action ELR stuff?
I had a real short conversation with Cal about it, and I don't know. I think Miles, you were looped in. I don't know if we've solidified anything. but I've got the rifle. I was out with it today.
I see
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, no, I was talking with Cal as well about it, and
Yeah.
great idea. I love the direction. Like
Mhm.
if we get something going on that, I think by next year you definitely will see something.
That's good.
We might have a couple friendlies put together as opposed to a formalized match, just to sort of
Yeah.
test fire the ranges. But
It's probably the
Yeah.
best thing to do.
Yeah.
Scotty, you can bring out your 308. I'm getting mine built, so need some challenge.
Did you say you're having a 308 built?
Hmm.
Why?
Beating the dog. That's awesome.
Listen, you've always known that I am not a herd guy. All right.
So because Creedmoor is the popular kid on the block, you're going to go back to the 308.
That's exactly right.
So you were telling me,
listen, I need a little more hang time
Why not just go
for
303
practicing
then?
ELR.
yeah, why not go
You know,
303 British?
There's yeah, that has some validity.
You know, I hear there's still people making barrels for those Enfields.
But I just thought for ELR practice, because at home I don't have a 2 mile spot to practice, and I mean shooting a 33XC all the time gets rather bloody expensive. I got two full-time jobs as it is, so
Yeah.
I figured I'll build a good 308 and practice wind.
Well, and you're right. Like it comes down to being able to make that wind call. It doesn't matter what caliber you're shooting.
Mhm.
Can you call that wind within that
Oh,
bracket? You know, the 1 to 2 mile per hour. Doesn't matter what caliber. You know, that's what your goal is. Can we stay consistent with calling that wind? And with that
Yeah.
308,
The answer
you
is no.
see it, right?
yeah, absolutely.
You guys are making me feel a lot better about 22 rimfire.
I shoot a
Yeah.
lot of 223.
Let's not get too crazy here, Chris.
I just know that Jens is watching. I'm just looking for someone to other than myself to validate my choice.
Well, I got that 223 Ackley, which is great too, but
That's a
the heck of it
centerfire,
is,
though.
we're leaving you out of this part of the conversation.
I'll just okay. I'm gonna go rearrange my sock drawer. I'll be right back.
You know, I get out to 1,000 with pretty damn good consistency, but you try and spot out that far. It is it's everything but impossible, I suppose. All but impossible.
Yeah.
And so that's why I went with 308. There's a bigger obstacle or thing going through the air, and you should be able to pick it up a little bit easier, a little harder splash on the ground. That's all.
Well,
anyway, I'll shut up. 308.
Yeah, like back in the even qualifying with the 308 back in the day, like our max, I believe it was 800. 800 was our max that we were shooting with the 308 to qual, and that was on 3 banks of 4-foot screens.
Is that right?
Or 3 4-foot screens. I believe that it was 8 or 9. Yeah, 100. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
You know, technology and optics and rifles, like there's so much technology has come and made things so much easier nowadays too.
Yeah.
That just helps us out now, stretch it out. But that was for you know, qualifying as a sniper. That's what we were shooting. So
well, we've all been there where you know, you have a hell of a pile of trouble at 800 in a lot of conditions with any rifle in some conditions, right? So
yeah,
a slower push in the old 308 at that distance should teach you a lot.
Oh yeah.
1 to 2 wind mile an hour bracket.
That's
Not there yet.
I'm going to get us
wind
back
racing
to
is all about the best educated guess.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It comes down to
the educated part of it. Yeah.
Bracketing. Yeah.
I'm going to get us back to our questions, but I wanted to ask a beginner's question first. What sort of distances do you really start to see trail?
Trail or like swirl?
Swirl.
swirl usually something, usually around like a 308. Usually you're catching about 400 to 500. You start seeing it.
In
Okay.
really
Wow.
good conditions, you can grab it at 3.
Yeah,
Okay.
but it's still traveling pretty fast there, eh? So it's usually still kind of blurred. Like your culmination point is still fairly low, so you're kind of getting, I guess, you're not kind of blending in with your target still as well, right?
Oh, I see. Okay.
So once you start getting up, you'll start seeing it.
Okay.
And the speed has a lot to do with it too.
Is there a hard line, like what types of speeds you start to see it at, or is it different for every weight or caliber, or?
Yeah, it's different it really is. It's different for every bullet, depending on the grain size, the size of the bullet, the speed, type of day, what's going on, humidity, rain, So yeah, there's definitely, spotting is definitely a skill in itself. Like that in itself has its own fundamentals.
Yeah. The background too that you're looking against can really screw you. Yeah.
Yeah, like if you're shooting across a valley, big open air, it can be pretty tough to grab it sometimes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm still amazed though at some guys that can spot almost every damn shot. Those eyes have had to have seen many thousands of rounds go down.
Yeah, for sure. Like spot and swirl too is only really effective out to, 600-700 meters.
Yeah.
Once after that, you're really combining your swirl, following your swirl to see if you're on track, right? And then after that, you're, if you want to follow it in as far as you can, right? But you tend to lose it at some point, usually 3/4 of the way, and then you want to pick up that positive feedback, either a hit or your miss, your splash, right? And then make your quick adjustment off of that and let her rip again.
So that's a pretty like a relatively small window, hey? Like if you're starting to pick it up somewhere around 3-4 and you start to lose it somewhere around 7 or 8, that's not a huge window to see it, is it?
No, it goes real quick.
You're looking for it at its max as it's starting to culminate. So you're looking at like 2/3 out at distance and picking it up in there. So if you're shooting longer, you're not looking from 300 in. You're picking it as it comes into your field of view.
Gotcha. Yeah. That makes sense. Dave Tree wants to know. I think he asked this question when you were talking about the precision and accuracy fundamentals. He wanted to know if there are minimum accuracy requirements for participants. I don't know what he's getting at here, but
if I understand correctly,
scale a broadside of a barn down to 2/3 IPSC, I guess.
But I think Cappy was trying to, like Cappy was saying, though, like you want to come in kind of with somewhat of an effective gun that will shoot, an MOA, maybe an MOA and a half. But we do like the clients, the shooters, to come in with their rifles that they want to learn how to shoot. You just really have to have your expectations set, right? You'll find out what your expectations and limitations are real short or real quickly, and that's what's really nice about bringing your own equipment and gear. You really find throughout those 2 days or 3 days what your limitations are, and it kind of dials your expectations back, or it kind of increases your expectations because you know a little bit more, and you can punch out a little further, right?
Yeah.
So
if you can come in with a top-notch system with MOA or mill dials and reticles, that's awesome. But if you're showing up with a duplex that's a 3 to 12, then we're going to make it work.
Yeah,
but you're just going to be limited based on your system.
Yeah, makes sense.
I don't imagine you're going to send too many guys home because of limitations like that. Like, learn to use your equipment. Right?
When I started, I had a duplex reticle. When my first issued scope had a duplex reticle, that's what I operated with.
Yeah,
fixed 10 power duplex reticle. So you can make it work. It's just going to be limited.
Yeah, I mean, last year, Cap, what we had 4 or 5 guys show up in Penticton with duplexes.
Duplexes are just the BDCs.
Yeah,
like a BDC type reticle.
They were Cap had them out hammering stuff at distance with them, right? So there's always something you can do with it, right? It's just a different process, different theory to
we may have to play with the magnification to kind of make your duplex drop to give you a little bit more space because it's a second, stuff like that. But it just gets complex. It's just not a simple way to do things.
I imagine people just have to have realistic expectations with what the equipment they're coming in with is.
Yep.
Hey,
Absolutely.
Yeah,
imagine. Do you guys have to do that a lot? Like managing expectations when people come in. Like somebody walks in with like a, super expensive like 338 Lapua, but hasn't shot a day in their life. And do you end up having to like manage that a lot?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. A lot of people want to chase competency through equipment.
Mhm.
They haven't mastered the fundamentals, and they've read in a book somewhere that the 338 is a longest 2,600 meters. I can do this. The system, no, it takes a while to get there.
They're still pulling the trigger with their middle knuckle.
Yeah. Yeah. Like you can, and a lot of guys will chase, especially with the ELR stuff. They're going to chase equipment, but you can get really far with short action 6.5s. You can, you can take them to 2K.
Oh, for sure.
So,
We tell our clients on the course too. You're coming to this course, a 2-day, 3-day course, even a 4-day course. We can't train you in 4 days to be a marksman or a sniper or that skill level at its highest peak. We can't do that in 4 days. You just can't. It's taken us our livelihoods to get to where we are, and we're still constantly trying to get better and better, right? And there's still shooters out there that'll school us left, right, and center, right? But what our goal and our objective is on our courses is to deliver a package for the shooter to take away with them, to have the understanding of what's going on, for troubleshooting. What do you need to work on? What's the right way to start off in a shooting program, and how do you better yourself within that program, right? So setting them up for success is our main objective. So you're not just going home and just blasting rounds and trying to figure it out on your own.
Well, that's interesting. This fella here just wrote in. I'm a noob.
You don't want
and
to
I
try
plan
and
on
pronounce the
shooting
name?
Bigger.
This fella here. Never mind.
My
Carry on.
apologies. Can you shut the fuck up?
Yes, I can. Carry on.
Anyways, he's a noob and he plans on shooting at least 10,000 plus rounds of 22 before he gets into a rifle round. Well, I on the surface that might be a good plan. Yeah, you just be quiet. But do you think that's really necessary? No.
You can, it depends on, where, I guess, what does he have for a training area? If that's what he's got, that's what he's got. And if so long as he's applying the fundamentals. The issue with the 22 is you're not learning how to manage recoil, and I see guys get sloppy.
That's I've had this argument with Sean and Chris many times about that.
Wait,
trigger
what?
time is trigger time, which is great, but that recoil impulse and everything else that comes with a good center fire rifle is you only get that one way.
Yep. I do a lot of practice in my 223, but I'll still deliberately jump over to one of my bigger guns to make sure I'm not getting sloppy with my recoil control. Because that will bite you. That will absolutely bite you every time.
That would be a perishable skill as well.
Yeah, and you'll see it if you go to a match where they'll have a sponsor gun, and that sponsor gun is a 300 Win Mag, and you'll see guys get down and they'll look at the RO and say, "This gun's not zeroed." Well, no, it's zeroed. It's totally zeroed, but
it's zeroed when you're not flinching.
Get out of here.
Yeah, but you're not driving the rifle properly, and it's bouncing all over the place because up until then they ran a 26-pound 6mm Creedmoor.
Right.
That they didn't even have it in their shoulder pocket for the last 12 stages.
I equate that to what they call ring rust in the fighting game. You can know how to throw the punches and the kicks and the combos and the defense and the strategy and all that kind of stuff. But if you haven't developed or you haven't maintained the perishable skill of being able to react to somebody throwing back at you, it makes everything else a lot harder.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, Spudman.
Especially in a dynamic game like PRS, recoil management is a large part of that whole game, right?
Yeah, once you start shooting positional.
Right.
Yeah.
You bet. All right, Chris, now you can go.
Now I can go. I don't have to shut the fuck up anymore.
Yeah.
Well, you're such a cute couple.
You should see
like
us
this
at
all
home.
the time.
Anyways, before our wives divorce us, anyway, Spudman wants to know what kind of Kestrel model do you guys recommend? And of course, he gave you the answer, but I'm not going to read it. I just want to hear your what your guys' answer is.
I think it's actually the 5700, isn't it?
57.
Yeah, the
5700.
Yeah.
So why the 5700?
Well, it depends what you need. One, that's the one I'm familiar with, but you can get the custom drag models in the 57 on Elite if you want it, although I don't use it because I don't shoot that far. I'm also a big fan of the Garmin 701. Miles and I will always freaking banter back and forth on that, but I like the Garmin 701 a lot.
Miles is just nodding and smiling about the Garmin.
Oh, it's got its place. It definitely got its place.
Yeah.
And it's like, what kind of tool? What do you want it for? And what are you going to use it? Where are you going to use it? Right?
Yeah.
And that's just it. I like the 5700 because it's for one, it's the most up to date. It's got everything from, like Chris said, the custom drag curves. It's got everything. It's a one-stop shop, right? With the Link, I could pair it up with my LRFs. You know, do I do it all the time? No, but it gives me options, right?
Mm-hmm.
And for the difference in price, really, you might also just step up to the 5700.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, follow-up question that is only a natural follow-up question. What do you guys like for spotting scopes?
Is money an issue?
I'll let you do two answers. One answer, money is an issue. The other answer, you just won the millions.
I really dig the Henstolt spotters if I didn't have to pay for it myself.
Okay.
Yeah.
But a Leupold Mark IV has served me very well for a very long time.
Yeah, and I have the same answer to that. We run the Henstolds. We're fortunate enough to get them from 2020 Insight, and we got a bunch of Mark IVs that we use too, and we beat them around, bash them around, and they've worked. They're
pretty
good
durable.
glass. You know, is there better glass out there? Maybe, but the price point's right on them. And they've just proven themselves over and over to us.
Yeah, they have. I've looked through quite a few, and I keep going back to that Mark IV, and it's interesting how good it actually is.
Yeah, it's
That's
a
what
good
you're talking
compact
about, isn't it?
package. Yeah.
Okay. It is, yeah.
You thought you were lost for a second there?
I did, yeah. Well, my mind goes every once in a while to the
Bacon!
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll move on so you don't have to worry about that. Here's an interesting comment that I want you guys to comment on here. So Dan says 22 short past 300 is supposed to mimic ELR wind calls, isn't it? Is there truth in that statement?
Maybe mathematically,
Mhm.
but I'm going to throw this out there. Trying to read wind at 2,000 meters is a lot harder than reading wind at 300.
Regardless of what you're shooting.
It's not so mathematically. Yeah, they may mimic each other that way, but I'm pretty good at reading wind inside 300. When I'm shooting across a valley and at 2,000, I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's doing something.
So many bloody
Within
layers.
300, you're pretty much reading your wind at your position.
Yeah.
Right. Maybe. And with that, you're able to catch that little bit of gust in between on a piece of grass or something. At 2,000, there's so much more that comes into play.
Mm.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, like you said before, it's best educated guess. You read what you can and let her go with what you see, and that's all you can do.
Yeah, just it can get tough.
I'm trying to cycle. I'm missing so many comments here because I stayed so far back, and I'm missing you. Why don't you let me get caught up here, Kurt? Why don't you ask these guys a question here?
I don't think we really touched on that third course, the positional course, yet, Miles.
You're actually right. We haven't.
Oh,
So why don't we do that? The positional fundamentals seminar. Tell us about it.
So that's going to be more geared to the shooter that wants to get into the competition, whether it's the PRS style or the practical rifle style, or if it's a group of hunters, we can also tailor it more to the hunting style of shooting. So it's we're getting off of our guts now, and we're shooting off of tripods, barricades, tree branches, you name it. and then how to make the best of the position you got.
So do you think that somebody should take one of the other two courses as a prerequisite, or are they completely independent? Or
you need to have the fundamentals down. You could step into a positional course, but the slippery slope you could go down is because we're bastardizing your position. If you don't have those fundamentals down solid, it may cause you problems in the long run. So even now, like, I always go back to the fundamentals of my training. I'll finish my day with a fundamentals series just to make sure I haven't gotten sloppy.
Makes sense. Yeah, makes a lot of sense.
So there was a question a little while back, unless somebody else has got something to add. But you're talking about positional shooting and that tripods. There was a question. What do you guys have? What have you guys found out there besides our RRS, the really right stuff tripod? That's a good one.
Cappy's working on a good one right now.
I actually just finished testing one, and the name's gonna escape me because, you know what? Really right stuff tripods are phenomenal, but they're not cheap.
They're pricey, man.
And yeah, I think by the time you get the tripod and a head for it, you're looking at $2,000. Like that's and shooting's expensive enough as it is. So I kind of went on a quest there to try and find a little bit more budget. And don't quote me, but I want to say it's called the Leoto, and I got it off
Leo Photo, I think.
Right? Nope, it's
not the Leoto.
No, I'll see if you give me a second. I'll see if I can dig it up.
Sure.
But it's a Leoto, Lee. It's a Chinese knockoff. I ain't gonna lie.
Ryan Christie says Leo Photo.
Nope.
Yeah,
not. It's if you give me a minute, I'll dig it up. But it was super stable. I've had good luck with I won't pronounce it right, but a Sirui, Sirui.
Okay.
Sounds Japanese.
Yeah, and it's about $300. And it's a carbon fiber tripod, and that's the one that I use a lot for hunting because it's light, and it'll go from prone, like I can put my lab radar on it, or I can go full standing. And that one's been pretty nice as well. The trick is to get a ball head that has a short neck. As soon as you have a long neck, you start torquing on it.
And that's one of the key things to shooting off a tripod and having good success with is having a good ball head. Good ball.
I did the same thing, Cappy. Went to Amazon. I think the tripod itself was $350, and then it was a low profile ball head for another $130 or some darn thing. And I'm happy.
Just the ball head?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't know. InterL. I don't know. It's a good thing about me and my experience with tripods. I haven't ever used really right stuff or a two vets tripod. So you don't miss what you never had.
Yeah. I have shot off of a really right stuff, and they are very impressive. But again, I'm having a hard time dropping that kind of cash on it. And then how do you counsel people to, like, hey, this is what you need to shoot well? Like,
yeah, no kidding. Yeah.
You know, by the time you pay for your rifle, your scope, your spotting scope, you're like, come on.
Is it odd that you can point to almost any piece of your bunch of gear piled in the corner there and pick a piece out and say, yeah, that's worth more than my primary form of transportation? That one too. Is that wrong?
I don't know.
Depends on if you want a bicycle to the range or not.
Done it.
Wayne Zillick wants to know, have you guys used the SIG RF binos?
The 3000s?
I have no idea. He did not specify. Let's say yes, the 3000s.
I sure have. I love them.
What do you think of them? You like them?
Yeah, I've been using them for a few years now.
Okay.
They're my go-to.
I actually don't know anything about them, so tell us about them.
So they are they have the LRF, and they can link to your Kestrel or to your to my Garmin in my case.
So the same sort of idea is like Vortex's, what do they call it? The 5,500 or 5,000, 4,000 AD?
Yeah.
Whatever it is, the AB. Okay.
Yeah. For the price, like admittedly, the glass, like something had to give for the price point when you have a LRF in there and the binos. So glass wise, yeah, they're not the top notch. But that laser, like I'm hitting 3,000 meters pretty consistent.
Holy smokes, no kidding.
Yeah, and like on a full size IPSC, I can smack it at about 2,000. So
Really?
yeah, I've hit elk at over a mile. So
No kidding.
yeah, so they're good that way. But once it does start getting dark, admittedly, yeah, they had to compromise somewhere because I think, what are they, Miles? They're under $2,000.
Yeah, they're around Cabela's. I think they're 1,600, 15,500, $1,600. Yeah.
Kurt, wasn't that what Rob had when we were out the other weekend? He had SIG range finding binos.
I think Bindos. Yes,
Bindos.
I think that was. Yeah, I didn't really pay too much attention.
I think he had a bit of
Concentrate
he
on
had
what
an
I was
older
doing.
model though that was because he said that it wasn't able to like it had no Bluetooth functionality for connecting to other devices or anything.
But if you want SIG equipment, give us a shout. We can hook you guys up with SIG.
Yeah, we're just testing out their newer ones too. The newer long range, the 5,000s and 10K, I think they're called.
Yeah,
Okay.
the one we got the 8, and we're waiting on the 10 to come. 10 is supposed to be pretty awesome, but there's a long wait list on that one.
Yeah,
Interesting.
Any one of them, they're more expensive than my truck.
Yeah, but for the price, those Kilo 3000s, I've been really impressed with them. I used them all hunting minus 40. They still held up. The battery still ran.
Really?
Yeah. So I was really happy with them this past season.
I don't think I've met anybody that has stated they're unhappy with their SIG equipment.
Yeah. There's been a couple, like again, in low light, I can tell it's a deer up against the trees. And I did have to, once I identified it as a deer, I did flip over to my scope to say if that was a shooter or not. But
yeah, I've had some issues with mine, but it's more user error. Yeah.
Kind of usually is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Trying to figure out which way go points forward.
It's all the beam dispersion,
Okay.
But,
that's what happens when you have the shakes in the morning, Miles.
Yeah.
I don't know why everybody wants to know your guys' opinion on equipment, but Spudman wants to know if you've ever heard of Kawa spotting scopes. And before you answer, if it has a bubble level in it, he will want to know about that.
That's right. Spud will go buy it. Yeah.
I have heard of them, but I can't say I've used one in about 20 years. So I can't comment on the new stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
They've always been among some of the best, though, haven't they?
They were always really, where I used to see them was when we were kind of transitioning to that practical rifle style, and some of the F-class guys came out. That seemed to be the scope that they all had.
Okay.
Back in early 2000s.
Right.
So I'm going to ask you guys another question here, and you guys feel free to answer part of this or none of this or whatever you guys are comfortable with. I don't think most of it should be an issue, but Big Kerr wants to know if you guys, well, first of all, if you guys have been following the NGSW trials in the US, and if you think they will accelerate the NGSW trials for Canada. I'm not even aware of NGSW trials for Canada. Is that even happening?
Nope.
Not that I know of.
So it seems to me that would be two completely independent things. Like as far as I know, Canada's not even looking at replacing our rifles, are we?
From my understanding, not at the time. Phil's on here. He might have a little more insight on that. Phil Foxtrot there.
Okay. If he makes a comment, we'll pull it up there. What do you guys think about the? Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Cappy.
I was gonna say I just got the name of that tripod. It's called the Innerel. INNOREL.
Were they talking about the sniper rifle, or were they talking about
that new squad weapon? I think.
Yeah, the next generation squad weapon trials. SIG and
True Velocity and
whoever the heck else.
The polymer case stuff.
Yeah, well, and SIG with their the 2-piece steel and brass.
Yeah,
Chris is quite excited about that.
What do you guys think about that? I'd love to get your guys' opinions on that because I've got a SIG Cross, and obviously the 277 Fury is the civilian version that they're coming out with.
I think the idea makes sense if I can carry more bullets at less weight, and then shoot it at a higher pressure to get more velocity. It makes sense. truth will be in the pudding. See how it performs.
Then it just comes down to supply.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. You know, I
Things
saw.
are right now.
Yes, supply. Well, I imagine in the next couple of months we've got to start making some sort of headway in terms of making up some of our supply backlogs. If restrictions are going to start to end around the world, you got to wonder. I imagine we're probably still a year or two away from any sort of semblance of normal, but hopefully we'll at least start to see some backlogs slow. At least maybe we won't just keep adding to the backlogs. Who knows? But SIG has not. I don't know how much you guys have been following this, so feel free to reserve comment if you haven't been following it. But SIG hasn't mentioned too much about their dual case 308 and 6.5, but at a couple of trade shows, people have been taking photos and circulating them around their displays at a couple of shows, like the what's the hunting show that was just this month in the Western U.S. Anyway,
SCI one.
Shoot, I can't remember. It's called Hunt something. Anyway, they had their display there, and they were showing off 2-piece cases, not only for 277 Fury, but for 308 and for 6.5 Creedmoor as well. Have you guys been following that at all?
A little bit, because I saw the True Velocity stuff, and I know True Velocity's released a 308 commercial version in the polymer case. Down the States, it's available.
Okay.
I think it's going to come down to, is there a demand? With the military being the big drive behind it, and that 277, that'll go first. And then there's going to have to be a demand on the sportsman side. So I think unless they determine if it's reloadable, I don't know if there'll be a massive demand.
Well, I remember them maybe a year and a half or so ago when they really first announced it. They were saying that they were looking at essentially selling brass for reloading, but I mean, you wouldn't be able. It's a one and done kind of a brass, I guess.
Yeah, that gets expensive.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no doubt.
How the hell am I supposed to neck turn anything with that?
Well, the neck is still brass.
That's how I spend 90% of my time.
I guess
I just did a wildcat silly thing.
You're going to have to invest in some more industrial type equipment, I guess.
I guess so.
We had a question. I'm just going to read this because I'm not exactly sure what Scott's talking about. But Scott Chitchell says, can a guy show up on the third day? I want to head to Manitoba or Saskatchewan one if it is a go, but I've taken the first 2 already.
Oh, Scott, just show up, man.
Just quit asking questions and just show up, Scott.
Yeah,
Right. Yeah.
You're good for the 3-day. You're in.
The answer is yes.
But yeah, Scott, you could if you need be. For the listeners, Scott's been shooting with us for a couple courses already. So yeah, if you want to show up for that third day, feel free to.
As a general rule, probably. As a general rule, probably unless we knew you, that'd be pretty hard for us to say.
Yeah.
So this answer to this question is for Scott.
It's for Scott. Yeah.
I just
that
realized
he made up his own certificate for your courses.
And for everyone I said no to, I apologize. Yeah.
When you said no to in the past, suck it up.
Yeah.
So I just realized while you were still looking for that, the name of that inner reel, Phil Foxtrot answered that question for you. He said inner reel 40 mil carbon, $400 approximate price.
Yes. I'm really impressed with it.
So Todd wants, I'm not sure exactly, Todd, I might get you to re-comment and maybe clarify your question a little bit, but he's saying what's a typical training session a guy can do? I think maybe he means like when people are practicing on their own. Like what kind of, like, is there a routine people should go through, or?
There's drills like the couple rounds off of like the one, I can't remember who created it. I'm going to bastardize it, but it's, if say you're working on a tripod, it's the 3 rounds standing, 3 rounds kneeling, 3 rounds seated. And every time you have to manipulate your tripod, because that's a big component, because a lot of times on those skill stages, you're not allowed to have the tripod extended. That has to become, so you have to get familiar with that. That's part of it. But really it's train for what you're trying to accomplish. So if you're a PRS shooter, train for that style of shooting. I don't know how many times I've been at the range, and it's somebody that I've shot with in PRS or NRL type matches, and all they're doing is shooting groups and getting ESs and SDs. And I'm like, I don't understand that. Like, a difference of an SD of 20 to 3 doesn't matter at the most of the distances we're shooting at. And if you can't shoot positional, who cares? It doesn't matter. You can have a 1/4-inch gun that is a bona fide quarter. It will not help you.
Yeah.
So,
And just to back onto that there, Cap, whatever you're doing and whatever you're training, like if you're shooting positional or if you're running through the basic fundamentals, if you're dry firing, be consistent within your training and really focus on the fundamentals. Don't rush yourself past the point of failure. Like, bring yourself to that point when you're there. But, you really want to focus on being consistent, on doing the right thing, not the wrong thing.
So do you think that would also include, like, if you decide that your routine is going to be, 3 shots standing, 3 shots kneeling, 3 shots prone, that you should do that on a consistent basis? Don't go out there just every once in a while and willy-nilly pick a couple of positions to shoot from. Is that what you mean?
No, I think that's good too when you're at that level. But what I mean by being consistent is drill wise. Whenever you approach your obstacle, if you're shooting position, right, you should have it already thought out to that point of where you're going, what you're doing, how you're going through your system. We talked about the shooting package of the rifle, the shooter, and the system itself, right? Mm-hmm. So you get into your position, you get on your position, and then, you're going through your optics. You're requiring the target, you're ranging the target, you're looking at the wind, your parallax, your adjustments for elevation, deflection, and you're in your breathing pattern, right?
It sounds like you're talking about deliberate practice.
Deliberate, consistent practice.
Yeah, if I'm going to go to the range and I'm going to train, I rarely will shoot over 50 rounds in a day, to be honest. If I'm going to, whatever course of fire I've designed myself to go through that day, I will go through it dry first. I will move from position to position dry. And then I will go from position to position without time. And I will not break the trigger until I think I'm going to get a hit. And then I'm putting myself on the clock.
Yeah, that sounds like a good session.
Yeah. And then, so at the end of that, what did that take me? Probably 30 minutes, 45 minutes, and maybe I shot 12 shots. Maybe.
Economical and worthwhile, right?
Yeah, I shot maybe 12 shots, but I got 48 reps because I went through it 4 times.
Right.
So
James Kopeck says, remember to take the scope caps off.
I think that's part of the deliberate practice, isn't it?
As long as you're not breaking the shot with them on.
That's right.
But in saying that, it's so true. And I've caught myself, going up to run a stage and,
who hasn't had to run back and get a mag?
Frick. Yeah. Or, my scope caps on in the front. It's like, son of a bitch.
New guy. Or run your dial back.
Who's this new guy here?
Yeah.
So
you were mentioning Phil Foxtrot might have an idea of some new rifle system that's going on in Canada. He kind of asked the question if maybe we were thinking about the C20. Are you guys familiar with C20?
No, it's not the C20. That's in service already, which boys are using. I'm reading his comment here about the C14 as well, which is new. Surprised, not surprised, but it is what it is. Charlie 14 replacement trials has ended. The Seiko M10 one.
Was it the SEC? Okay.
So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Sorry,
is Sacco owned by Beretta overall? Does anybody know?
I have no idea.
Sure. Yeah, because when I first heard, I heard it was the Beretta won the contract. I'm like, I have no idea what rifle they even make.
Who owns Sacco? Google. Beretta Holdings.
There you go.
Yeah.
So there you go. Yeah.
It's probably a decent rifle in itself.
This is the C14, you mean?
Yeah, it's going to replace the Timberwolf.
Oh, okay. Okay, I don't know anything about. I didn't even know that was. It's so crazy, man. We don't like. You try to find information for just entertainment purposes, and you can always rely on Task and Purpose, the YouTube channel in the States, to be talking about, you know, US trials and stuff like that. I never hear anything about what's going on in Canada. So the C-14 has replaced the Timberwolf.
No, that is the Timberwolf.
That is the
That
Timberwolf.
is the Timberwolf.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Good to know. I don't know squat about this stuff, obviously. Hey,
Me either.
but that's bad. That's the blind leading the blind now.
Well, that's just fine.
Thankfully we've reached the end of the questions at this point. Has what I would like to know? Okay, good. I was just about to ask if anybody has any questions about shooting. We've had so many questions up to this point about equipment, and the irony of that is we kind of started the show talking about that, you know, the Gucci equipment cannot make you a better shooter, and I would just like to maybe get some questions in with you guys regarding shooting. And one finally came in here. So Hunter Magan wants to know if you have any advice to improve being a spotter. I'm going to guess we're talking about like basics here.
Yeah.
Do as much of it as you can.
You're right. Yeah. Repetition.
I think I exponentially improved as a shooter once I became a primary spotter. So
I hear this, people say this all the time, and I have no idea whether it's true or not, but is it true that typically the more experienced sniper will be the spotter?
Yeah.
Yep.
And I imagine it's for that reason.
Not just for that reason. There's also comms and command that are the shooter's really not in position to take care of. So usually your senior guy would be the spotter, but typically your spotter would most likely be your senior guy and more of a all-around better spotter for sure.
Makes sense.
So sometimes a couple, there's guys that get thrown in the command position because they're good spotters and all they want to do is shoot, but
shouldn't have been such a good spotter.
Yeah. It's a good spotter. But yeah, no, spotting is it's definitely an art and it's craft in its own. Like Cappy said, you got to get a lot of rounds down range, but in saying that, you really have to, I think, have an understanding of what you're looking for and why things are happening the way they're happening. And it's not about just following that swirl, right? And you have to anticipate where that swirl's going, especially when you're losing it. If we got a right to left wind and I'm going to be losing my swirl, I don't want to be seeing that swirl on the center of the target, right? Because it's still got time to travel down range. I most likely want it on the right side of the target into the wind, so it can still travel that distance into the target, right?
So Miles, you'll probably elaborate more, but I think for me, it's about, because you can do all the mathematical formulas in the world, but until you start imprinting that vision into your brain of what a good shot looks like, it becomes very difficult. So the more you can get on the glass, so even at a match, everybody likes to hang out and joke and talk, and I still like to get on a scope if I can and just watch to imprint it as much as I can to what.
Even if you're watching other shooters, you mean?
Yeah, just so that I know what a good shot should be looking like in the air. Because Miles is right, you're going to lose it. It's going to disappear on you, but you're making that hit prediction based on where you last saw it.
Right. Yeah.
So you need to see
and getting that eye to follow that thing.
Yeah.
I find my eye does this all the time, trying to catch up to that swirl.
Yeah, because you need
then back onto that target.
The physiological science behind it is you're seeing it, but you have to send a signal from your eyes to your brain. Your brain has to register what it's seeing, compute what it's seeing, and then by then it's gone. So
when you're looking for that, do you not
Commodore?
The Commodore 32?
Not even the 64.
The 64.
That's weird. I'm about to lose my battery, but my computer is plugged in. Anyways, what I wanted to... Oh, shit. Now I completely forgot what I even wanted to ask you guys. Okay. The good news is I've plugged my computer back in. Oh, right. That's what I wanted to ask. Based on Kurt's comment, it sounded like what you were saying, Cappy, is that, you may not want to look at swirl with your focused vision. Like, do you want to look at it through peripheral vision?
So like you can use their Kestrel to figure out exactly what mill hold you should try and be looking at to pick it up. As a general rule, if my shooter's holding 10 mils, I just sort of kind of hover my eyes up around there somewhere, and I'll pick it up, because the longer you can see it, the more you're giving your brain the opportunity to recognize what's happening.
Right.
If you pick it up at the very end, you'd be like, I don't know. So you need to get it. You need to get it as far out as you can. So if my shooter's holding,
your brain can build a pattern out of it.
Yeah. So if my shooter's holding 8 mils, I'll just kind of hover around 8ish to pick it off further out.
Okay.
Because that's going to be the max ordish around there, and I'll try and follow it as long as I can until it disappears.
Okay.
If you're looking at the target, you're not going to pick it up soon enough.
Yeah, as a spotter, you're not focused on that target. You're trying to catch that culminating point. And James Kopech made a good point. Being right behind the shooter is best. You want to be behind the line of board as close as you can. That's why you see, sniper teams, close as they are,
almost laying on top of each other.
It's not for any other reason but to see trace.
It's not for warmth.
That's right.
No.
That's a different show.
Okay.
Something with you in it.
Me.
Yeah, you want to be behind the axis. Gives just even minor offsets, right? And once you offset from your shooter, you'll see it all the time on the range. You'll have there'll be a spotter trying to spot for his shooter, and he's off by off to the side, 4 or 5 feet. Well, what he's seeing in relation to where that round is going, and the axis of the barrel and the axis of the round going, it's not the same, right?
Yeah. How would he see that? Would he see it like on more of an angle so it would just look funny? Or
it looks funny.
Okay.
Or you get the target that maybe on a bump in a high ground, but the hill is, say, another 150 meters behind it. So if you're not right in bore, you'll see the impact off the right hand side of the target, but it actually missed the left side. And in that next 150 meters
around,
and you're not going to pick that up. And you'll be like, hey, you're missing right. Hold more left. Well, no, you're actually missing left.
It's one of the hardest shoots I've done is being offset from my shooter, either different levels, different floors, or different rooms. It's tough. It's really tough. It takes a lot of practice. You can, once again, there's a lot of educated guesses involved in that as well. But the hardest trick is, like Cappy was talking about, is the depth. Once that round passes the point of target.
Yeah, where you're going to see the
splash. Not only horizontally, but vertically as well, right?
Right.
Okay. So if they're shooting prone, you don't necessarily want to be, 6.5 feet tall, standing through a scope behind them.
Not necessarily, no.
Not necessarily.
You want to be down.
Theoretically,
yeah. That's kind of why we have it. Most part, people, like when we do our team shoots with our spotter and shooter, we try to get them on their guts, but for that reason. But you can still be effective. You just have to understand what you're seeing in relation to what's actually happening.
Yeah, you interpret the trace, and then you have to read the ground, because again, you could be center punching at windage, but you're burning over the top, but you're missing that because you haven't read your trace at height. And again, by now the wind picks it and it's pushing it off left or right. So you're calling left or right misses, but in fact you're high.
Yeah. Another good point I'd add to that too is, we talk about shooter log books when we're shooting, taking in our impacts and where we're anticipating it hitting and where it actually hits, and making corrections. Well, back in the day, we also did that for spotting as well. We'd call our shots, and then we'd get notified, for the plug or whatever, where it actually hit on a conventional range, and then we'd collect that data as well. Because spotting is really based off of the time of day, type of day, what you're seeing as well, right?
Yeah, that makes sense. Cool.
Keep a log.
Write it down.
Yeah, my pad would be blank. Didn't see.
Right.
Blinked.
James Kopek wants to know, talk about quite the well-framed question there, James. Talk about moving targets, question mark.
They move.
They move.
Yeah. You prefer a trap or a like a moving lead, however you want to say that.
I do a bit of a hybrid. I like to get
What
out in
are
front.
the two? I don't know what the whole sentence he said. I knew it was English, but it didn't make sense.
Yeah.
Typically there's trapping or tracking.
Okay.
So trapping, you're getting out in front of it and you're holding still. And when it comes across your perceived aim point, you break the shot. Tracking is almost like shotgunning. So you're swinging through.
Ah, gotcha.
So a lot of it depends on distance to target. Trapping at distance is much easier. But if you are compressed and you're like inside 150, you're probably swinging through it and letting it break.
Yeah.
Because
probably has a lot to do with the size of the target too, doesn't it?
Well,
mind you, leading edge is still leading edge, no matter the size of the target.
Well, everything's relative to the target, right?
Yeah.
So your mill hole will be different.
Yeah.
But it really comes down to how that target is presenting itself to you at that time too, and what you have.
Yeah.
So are you able to track, or is it better to ambush?
Yeah, it could be the position you're shooting from that is more conducive to one or the other, or if it's going left or if it's going right, because that's easier and harder depending on what side of shooting you're on as well. Because your body can twist easier one direction over the other.
Yeah.
Scott Chichel is saying zigzag coyotes. I'm not sure if he's.
Yeah,
that is some of the best training out there.
If you want to become a good shooter, go shoot coyotes. Yeah.
Sure. Like there's everybody wants to get hung up on the math, but whether you're hunting or Miles can speak more to the operational side, I've never done math when it's happening.
Yeah.
It's good to know the math.
It's good to know to understand it, but
they're moving for a reason.
Yeah.
Right. So
yeah, they're trying to deke you out.
Yeah. If you let's say you got a deer that's moving and he's moving across you, and you have the time that you can look down, and you have your dope card on movers too, right? You can take a quick boo at that, good to go. Just understand the general speeds of what's going on and where you can actually fall in with what hold. Right? Like a 1.3 can pretty much get you on any walker out to 300 to 400 meters. 1.3 to 1.5 depends what you're shooting for muzzle velocity.
Yeah, my general rule is 1.5, and then I kind of get a feel for the speed, and I go a little bit more or go a little bit less.
Yeah, and I like to break on the edge for myself. That's when I'm telling myself to break the shot. Is on the
when you
edge.
say on the leading edge. I got you. Okay,
it's just a very easy,
more defined.
Yeah, like this year we got our elk on the run because we spooked them up out of a bed, but 150 meters front shoulder, let it go, because an elk obviously windage wise is quite a large object. 150 meters is not that far of a shot. So it was just starting to kick up to go.
I've got another question here from Spudman, but before we do, we should meet a couple of our obligations here and let everybody know that the show is also brought to you by Odell Engineering. They are the geniuses behind the Canuck line of firearms. Odell Engineering is your premium importer and distributor of some of Canada's top brands of firearms, including Bergara, Rock Island Armory, Mission First Tactical, Hyperfire, and of course, the Made for Canada Canuck firearms. You can find their products and a dealer carrying said products at www.odellengineeringltd.com, on Facebook at Odell Engineering Ltd, or walk into your local gun store and tell them Phil sent you.
And we also have the designed in Canada and built in Japan Apex Optics. They're made with premium ED glass, resulting in the best optical system money can buy. The rival 4-32 competition rifle scope features super positive clicks, a 2-turn indicator, zero stop, and one of the most thoroughly thought out reticles in the industry. When you buy Apex, precision comes standard. Find them at apexoptics.co.
And they're in Nuremberg right now, or on their way to it.
Oh, that's right, too.
Big show in Germany.
Yeah.
Which show is that? That's IWA or something?
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
It's not. It's IW something.
Yeah. I got that.
IW something. And last but not least, our show is brought to you by Ribstone Gunsmithing. For all your gun plumber needs, including wood refinishing, repairs, and rust bluing, to bring the old girl back to life, contact Oscar Long at ribstonegunsmithing.ca. He's the Wizard of Czar, Alberta. He said he was going to write us a new read.
Did he write that up?
Yeah.
No, he
No.
said that he was going to write one because he thinks that one's too cheesy, but he hasn't.
He
said
left
that
it up
one,
to
so
me,
we'll
and
have to
that's what
read
he got.
it. That's right. I'm not even sure he's joined us tonight.
I haven't
haven't
seen him.
seen any comments. He
Must
might be waiting for the reruns.
the blooper reel.
The blooper reel, yeah. So we maybe one or two more questions for you guys here. First of all, from Spudman, I don't. This is just I've never heard of this, so it's just an interesting question for me. Is left-hand twist better for long range?
I'm gonna get one for my 303 British to practice yellow.
Are you in the southern hemisphere or the northern?
Right.
Well, we're certainly not in
Where does your
Australia.
swirl go?
And are you shooting north or south?
Does that actually matter?
It does make a difference, but not at distances that any of us are shooting at.
Not an appreciable distance. It's practical.
Either way, you're going to have to calculate one.
You're
way
gonna
or
have to
the
figure it out.
Exactly. Yeah.
other. Is there a benefit to it? Not really. Your spin drift is still spin drift.
Okay.
You know?
It's not like flushing a toilet in Australia.
And if you know something that I don't know, please let me know.
Yeah.
Mm.
I do
Indeed.
not. I think we're. So Ryan Christie just says the left-hand twist was designed for the Brits to counter their flinch true fact.
Is that basically
Ryan
the majority
Christie
of
is
shooters being
also
right-handed?
still on painkillers.
Yeah.
I just thought he was giving you a good tip for when you get your Enfield going there, Kurt. your PRS Enfield.
Right. Yeah. It's gonna happen.
If I could
Well-
see you loading with stripper clips,
That's better than single loading.
yeah.
Hey guys,
All right.
first of all, remind everybody where they can find you, and after you're done that, we if you guys have any final comments, anything you'd like the listeners to know about Callsign or Bolt Action or the world at large, then the stage is yours.
Yeah, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram. I think we're gonna try this TikTok thing out with Bolt Action Coffee.
Oh, don't
Oh,
say
good for
that.
you guys.
We'll see about that. But
Miles. is
anyways,
dancing.
for 66, yeah, callsign 66 .ca. You can find us there. We got our calendar up like we were talking about. If you're on your phones and you can't find the upcoming courses, just turn your phone sideways. For some reason, it's catching a lot of people. Our website's not showing our little pages
calendar
there. So
embed.
just turn it sideways and it'll pop up for you.
It's got a
So,
left-hand spin.
Take a look at that. If it fits your guys' schedule, yeah, just register online. And if it doesn't, give us a shout. Maybe we can make something work for you. If you get a group of guys together, we can figure something out.
Do you guys do one-on-ones or is it just
do.
just groups?
We do.
You do one-on-ones?
Yep.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, it's actually more common than we thought it would be, for sure.
Oh, okay.
Hmm.
So if somebody wanted a one-on-one, they just reach out to you guys and figure it out.
Yep,
And it'll work
absolutely.
with depending on where you are and who's free. So
Yeah, awesome. How many instructors do you guys have right now?
Well, right now we're 3 primary, but we're able to grab like we always do. We grab from the cells within. Depends where we go as well.
Okay.
So we like to use the operational guys as well to bring a lot to the table for the shooting aspect, and it's always great having those guys out, giving them opportunity to keep training.
Mm-hmm.
Dave's asking a question. Actually, I've wondered about myself, or if you're planning on putting out any new videos. Those were good videos, really good videos, I thought.
Yeah, it's always we always talk about it, but geez,
Look for them on TikTok.
Time.
yeah, right. We always talk about them, and then it's one of those things where we just get involved in the course and you start teaching course wise, and you just totally forget it. Even for pictures, I'm terrible for taking pictures. You get involved in the course. Before you know it, at the end of the day, you ask guys for their pictures and they're like, for videos, and we don't really have much. But as for
you're focused
for
on
the content videos, there's definitely talk about more coming out. I don't know when or.
Yeah, we're just in talks with one that may come out now. We'll follow a new shooter along.
Yeah.
And train him up for some stuff. But that's just in initial talks right now.
Cool. Sure. Todd Wilson wants to see you guys dancing on TikTok.
It's amazing. It's simply amazing.
You should see Cappy dance, man. You'd be surprised.
Don't think about it. Just do it.
Just do it.
I'm probably going to say you probably won't see us on the TikTok.
We're trying to draw an audience, not scared away.
Yeah,
right.
I got to be honest with you guys. I don't think that you guys dancing on TikTok is going to scare anybody away. Ironically, I think that would make you like top 10 trending.
No, I don't see that happening.
It's like, no, just flat out. No, it's not happening. Ryan Christie says, you may have a spot in Southern Saskatchewan for a course. I'll get some guys together. Well, Ryan, reach out to the guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
We can travel.
For Bolt Action Coffee, you guys, you can, once again, Instagram, Facebook, get a hold of us, boltactioncoffee.com, and we'll take you right to our website.
I need to ask. Beautiful. I've been waiting to ask this question forever. What's the story behind Midnight Canoe?
Nope. I knew it was coming. I was like, nope.
I have to go there, right?
If you don't want to answer, that's okay. It's just
if you know, you know.
If you know. Okay, I got you.
It's a friendly trip on a canoe.
Okay, it is. It probably is what everybody thinks it is what you're saying?
It's just Algonquin Park, moose. It's all good.
Gotcha. Okay.
Late at night. Romantic.
Fair enough. You just look at the moonlight. Gotcha.
The sound of the loon in the background is the sound of the loon.
Yeah, I got you.
So romantic.
Yeah.
Is that where Welcome to the Brotherhood came from as well?
I'm guessing they're two different things, Kurt.
All right. Why don't you tell them about what we got coming up here, Chris?
Oh, am I doing that? Okay. All right. Well, how about? Let me ask you a question here, Sean. Sean.
Who?
Kurt Sean.
That's one.
That's one. Yeah. Everything I've said, and that's the one that deserves a warning.
Get on with it.
The point is, Kurt, how would you like to win $6,000 worth of rifle? Would you appreciate $6,000 worth of rifle?
I think I might.
You think you might?
I think
Good.
I might.
Well, let me tell you something. As we speak, EMP Rifles is hand making a custom 6.5 Creedmoor rifle, complete with KDEX receiver, IBI barrel, Heathen muzzle brake, and MDT XRS chassis. This bad boy of reach out and touch someone will come complete with an Apex rival optic. And to join the two in unholy matrimony will be MDT scope rings and a Pelican hard case. Would you appreciate such a beast? That's a question.
Tell me how you can get this, Chris.
There we go. Yeah, this is the interactive portion of our program. You can enter to win this one-of-a-kind rifle of your dreams by purchasing a First Focal Plane Live, Laugh, Reload bumper sticker. How do you do that, you ask? See, now I'm not even waiting for you to respond. Well, simple, my rifle-toting friend. Send an email to info@ffpp.ca with your name, email, and phone number. Then send an e-transfer for $25 Canadian monies to the same email. We promise that it won't get flagged or frozen. We cannot promise that. We are not
we can't
actually
promise that at all.
yeah, with the Canadian banking system, anything goes right now. It's roulette. Anyways, I'm not selling it anymore. Every sticker that you buy will get you one entry to win this sweet, sweet rifle. Enter soon, enter often, win big. Over the next few months,
And when can we start entering?
Well, I'm glad you asked, Kurt. Over the next few months, you can also meet us, or you can do it now, or over the next few months, you can meet us at one of the many gun shows that are going to be popping up across Western Canada, where we will be selling stickers in person and showing off examples of EMP rifles, jaw-dropping handiwork. The first gun show that you'll be able to see us at will be the Moose Jaw Gun Show on March 5th and 6th. We will have a custom EMP 6.5 Creedmoor there, so that you can take a look at the incredible work that they do. And we will be selling the stickers at the show. We'll also be selling t-shirts finally. So for those of you who were interested in exchanging monies for a Brass Goblin t-shirt, we will have some at that show, but you'll want to try it on before you buy it. So essentially what this whole preamble has been about, Kurt, has been we're going to raffle away a rifle, buy a bumper sticker, get a really nice I think I have a picture of it. Let me see if I can.
Yeah, we got it somewhere, I think.
Me see here. I'm just going to bring it up, and then I'm going to show it online, and I'm talking literally just to fill the air. If you guys would like to fill the air instead of me,
to
then
answer
you feel free.
James's question.
Yeah,
he's asking how many stickers available. And I think we settled on 500, didn't we?
Yeah, there's only 500 stickers available, and I mean, we're not going to be printing more. When the stickers are gone, the draw is over. So it's not necessarily a time-based thing. It's just, you get in while you can, because once the stickers are gone, then we do the draw. So you're going to get an Inception look for a second here, and then you're going to get the bumper sticker. That's what the bumper sticker looks like. Live, laugh, reload. First Focal Plane podcast. So yeah, anybody who's interested in that, send an email to info@ffpp.ca. You can send e-transfers there, or if you want to meet up with us first at the Moose Jaw Gun Show, March 5th and 6th, you can do that. I forget a lot of the other shows we're going to. I know we're going to be at the Calgary Gun Show for sure. What is that? April 19th or something?
April 15th, I believe.
15th?
Yeah, Easter week, I believe. Easter
week. Okay, so we'll be at that show as well. We're looking forward to giving some lucky listener a custom EMP rifle, complete with an Apex Rival scope. So there we go.
Indeed.
So Chris W says, "Come to Shithole and resurrect TACOM. Huge sale guarantee." I don't know what that means. What is Shithole?
Where TACOM is.
Where is
he
Shithole?
means Ontario.
He means Ontario. Oh,
Yeah,
well, now it
makes
makes sense.
sense.
Okay. Now it makes perfect sense. Dan, if you don't have online banking, just reach out to us with an email, and we'll help you sort it out so you can get a sticker. Yeah. So Ryan Chrissy says he'd do some dirty deeds for $6,000 worth of rifle.
This does not shock me one bit.
I'm just going to leave that comment right where it is. Todd Wilson has compared me to Dr. Ho. with his little tens machine, which is awesome, by the way. I love the Dr. Ho machine. What else? Has anybody got any other questions here? I don't know.
Dave asked if they're shooting PGWs still.
Yep.
Oh,
yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
We're still rocking PGWs. There's a couple other guns that come into play once in a while, trying new things here and there. But yeah, definitely PGWs are running strong.
Excellent.
PGW was the first, other than a wood-stocked Parker Hale, hunting rifle. PGW was the first non-wood stocked bolt action rifle I ever shot. It was it was a coyote and a timber wolf all in one day. It was quite the introduction to high end rifles. It was pretty cool.
I've yet to get behind one personally. Something about goo on a guy's rifle, and it just wouldn't allow
It's not
me.
appreciated when it's handed back.
That's I know. I don't get it.
Did you snot on someone's rifle?
I may have a little.
A little. Well, okay. I'm not sure. Yeah, no, I wouldn't give you my rifle either. I don't.
All right, that'll probably do for tonight.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, everybody, thanks for joining us for the show tonight. Miles, Cappy, it was an absolute pleasure. I learned a hell of a lot from tonight's show, and I really can't wait to do a course with you guys live and meet you guys live. And thank you for coming on and sharing your knowledge, your information, and putting up with our jokes that are clearly in poor taste.
Lame.
And thanks to our listeners, everybody. Before you log off, if you're on the Facebooks, give us a thumbs up or a smiley face or something else. If you're on the YouTubes, give us a thumbs up. If you're on the Twitch, well, I'm sure there's some sort of metric on the Twitch to give us
Take care of some of the meatheads that are on there.
Yeah, there's something to feed the algorithm on that platform as well. So feed the algorithm.
Mm-hmm.
It needs your souls. I am disappointed that we had a troll only the one night. What was it, 2 weeks ago, Kurt?
Yeah,
we had a live troll on the show.
One. Yeah, there's another one popped up again tonight. And, yeah.
Was there?
How'd that go?
Oh, the other week it was. I loved it. It was so great. There was something about how we had to the government orange or I don't think he said Agent Orange, but we had to ban the orange and ban guns because something about killing dogs and people.
Either I have really low comprehension skills or that guy was high as fuck.
I'm pretty sure he was high or drunk or something. Yeah, but it was pretty entertaining. I enjoyed it. And I'm looking forward to the day when we have another live troll.
I have low patience for that.
That's okay. I'll deal with it. I got it. I got it on lock. Yeah. If anybody's interested in hearing our live troll, I think it was 2 episodes ago. Who was our guest that night? Did we even have one? We did have one. Who was it?
Wasn't that Martin with MDT?
No, it was the week after Martin.
Oh, was it? I don't know. I can't remember. Anyway, so we have an outro probably, hey?
Yeah, should we play it?
Yeah, we should probably play it.
All right. Well, as soon as I can get to the spot. All right. Thanks for joining us, guys. We'll see you all next week.
Okay. Thanks, everybody.